All right, we're gonna do chapter 13 of develop. The title's "Developing Persuasive Conversation That Makes Others Want to Act." Disappear for a second there. So this is the book Art of Conversation. Doing a summary. Hope you like the background here. It's another AI Dolly Open AI Dolly 2 art. So it's kind of an interesting picture. Actually, there's two pictures, one on each side that I did. Okay, um, I just typed in the words to do that. AI generated the rest. Okay, to summarize this whole chapter, it's basically one of the most valuable skills is persuading people to do certain things. So if you're a CEO of a big giant corporation, yeah, that's where your pay comes from. How well you can direct people or lead, motivate people to do uh, to have a profitable organization. Um, that's one of the reasons why the salary is like 3,000 billion times more than the bottom person. So uh, I think it's a little bit out of whack. There is this is one of the this chapter basically points out that skill set is where the value is. At least how quote unquote civilization pays salary for people. Uh, so otherwise you're just a one man shop, and I'm kind of like a one man shop. So the only person I'm influencing is myself, really. But um, I guess I could say I have clients that I make kind of influence. But uh, yeah, also yeah, if you're a salesperson, um, this chapter is really helpful because you're trying to influence. I apologize, I'm like a little sleepy because it's like before as again I'm up before the sun has risen where I'm at, and I went to bed long after, or went to sleep long after the sun went down, so I didn't have a whole lot of sleep. I've got bags underneath my eyes, so that's why I'm drinking coffee. So I'm gonna quote the author here directly. Perhaps the most sought after job skill today, and thus a skill that can earn the most money for you, is the ability to make others want to take action. So if you check this book out from the library for free, you can have every detail of what this chapter is about. Uh, I'm just gonna give you a summary. Um, as a reminder, I pause. Use that as meditation. I don't think there's too few people that can meditate in this world. Probably monks. Monks are probably some of the greatest meditators. Um, so take that time of silence. Say hi to yourself. Hello. Let's say hello. I'm waving. You can't see my hand. Hello. Get to know who you are instead of just talking randomly to yourself. Um, just listen to what you have to say inside your mind. I might be looking at the picture here, all the different weird white uniforms, just different funky looking dude right here with his hands out. I don't even know if he calls hands, whatever the heck, whatever the F they are. Strange creature. You might be thinking about, what you got to do today, what your plans are. You might have some discomfort or comfort. Your mind have all kinds of thoughts. You're a reflection of the universe. The brain is a reflection of your environment, uh, environment that you've traveled through in space time, and your thoughts are a reflection of that environment. And just like yeah, take the time to pause to just observe your thoughts and try to keep it positive because your attitude is everything. I've heard this quote: "Attitude's every like altitude. Attitude's like altitude." Keep, but yeah, it's everything, and the realization that you have control over your attitude. You have control over your brain has the capability of perceiving the universe, but not only perceiving the universe, but interpreting interpreting the universe around you. And I'm fiddling with my earphone here because it's like it's a dirty earphone. It's like I gotta clean that thing. But anyways, your attitude, no matter what happens in the universe, you have control over how you perceive your perception, how you perceive your perception, how you how you interpret the world around you. You have control over your decision of how you're going to react to the world. It's a controllable system, and once you realize you have control of that, then you can have more tranquility in your mind, no matter what happens. I look at, I mean, I kind of like the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Have you ever read some of his? It was never meant to be published, so it's really his deep inner thoughts, and but he recognizes like you know the fragility of everybody. No human. I don't care who you are. If you're the commander of the planet Zudo or planet Earth or whatever, I don't care. You're still fragile. Everybody's fragile. So I don't care if you're Superman or whatever, or Wonder Woman. it's, uh, we're all gonna die. We all have a 100% probability of dying within the next 200 years. So one of the things that Marcus Aurelius meditation is, he meditates on the fact that we all have like a mind fire and it's temporary. The fire goes out. So and like I said, a colleague, a friend of mine I used to work with, we had a friend that got run over by a truck. You realize compared to a good day is when you don't get run over by a truck. So every day, that makes pretty much every day a good day, as long as you don't get run over, um, which does happen. But it can make you have a great, profound gratitude and appreciation of having both your arms if you're lucky enough, having both your legs, because there's people out there, maybe you watching this video don't have both your arms or don't have both your legs or can't walk or something like that. So appreciate what you have. It's like you don't really appreciate things until you've lost them. So you don't. So yeah, it's really kind of waking up not only to your mortality each day, but having profound appreciation and gratitude for what you have. Uh, so, but yeah, being able to control. That's why I admire people who who don't have all of what most people have. Because I can see that they may not appreciate. I mean, they see that most people don't really appreciate what they have until you don't have it. So it's a gratitude thing, but yeah, realizing you can control your interpretation of your perception is extremely valuable for having a tranquil mind. Anyways, back to the book. I was way off topic, but The author feels that anyone can be successful as a motivator. And look at Stephen Hawking. He was in a wheelchair, stuck, couldn't really move, but he was a motivator for a lot of scientists, a lot of people interested in science. So I'm going to give you a chapter of subtitles here. Here's the modern way to get things done, the secrets of getting through to others, breaking through preoccupations, relieving the other person's tensions, making the person feel appreciated, preventing the person from tuning you out, restlessness, repeated questions, unrelated statements, how to plant your target in the person's mind, using long established idea planter, guiding the person's thinking with a teacher's technique, a salesman's method for assuring that ideas stay planted, techniques that gain acceptance for your idea, avoiding false acceptance, drawing out person's objections, deciding if their person's objections are emotional or logical, how to handle logical objections, how to handle emotional objections, how to keep the person going until the job is finished, reminding the person of the need for change, making a person happy about the change, keeping your interests active, and that's basically kind of the summary of the chapter, at least in terms of the title. This is a good chapter. It's a very practical chapter of the book, probably the most practical chapter of the whole book. So you could probably check it out from the library for free and learn something valuable. Um, Especially if you're a manager or supervisor, there's a lot of value in this chapter. I'm just going to give you like a real overview. Let me just overview summary. So yeah, motivating other people. A quite a modern way to get things done. Now this book was written back in the 1970s, so modern maybe perceived a little bit differently now. But when I read this, I agreed with it in the context of the year 2002, 3, Common Era, depending on what country you're in, where year it is right now. People do. I'm just going to read this little part here because I feel like it's important. I'm going to read it directly. Still trying to respect the copyright of the author. I don't have permission to read it directly, but I'm going to read it anyways. People do what they do because they feel comfortable acting that way. When someone's happy with the way things are, the person has no reason to change. But if this same person becomes unhappy with the current state of affairs, then the person will feel uncomfortable. People don't like feeling uncomfortable, so when they feel this way, they're open to suggestions that will help them feel happy again. When they learn of a new way to behave that removes their discomfort, they'll gladly change their actions, they'll be motivated, they'll want to act in a new way. So this chapter points out how to motivate people based on these three facts, or these three basic principles. All right. So yeah, if you're a supervisor or in a position of power, it's a lot easier to motivate people because they know you can fire them or raise their salary or lower their salary. So that gives you a position to give the other person less comfort unless they have an opportunity to go to another place, another job somewhere. If you're paying them a lot of money, then they might be a little bit concerned about losing that, so they would probably feel uncomfortable if you. But this chapter talks about subtle techniques about how to subtly motivate without activating the person's ego or anything like that, or So it's and it's this is the best chapter of this whole book so far. Chapter so like I say, chapter 13. You could it's worth checking the book out or buying the book, but checking the book out for free at a library or requesting your library to get it. Um, this one chapter. So the author talks about like a specific example. The supervisor, an employee is really messy. The desk, the cubicle, or whatever, bunch of dinosaurs and creatures inside there. I don't know. Like my messy pictures back here. uh, and so the supervisor is trying to get the employee to clean out their workspace. And so the author points out you first got to make the other person feel uncomfortable about their current actions, and the second, show the person a new and better way to act that will remove the person's discomfort, and the third, stand aside and let the person change of their own free will. So it's you're kind of like guiding the person to the right direction, but they move at their own free will. Because I don't know of anybody who likes an over commanding boss except for in the military. I guess maybe in the military, you just do this, do that, and orders, and how they represent. There's probably still similar three principles though. Okay, so next section here: secrets of getting it through to others. So interest is created when the other person's mind is quote unquote dry, when it's not absorbed with its own thoughts or emotions. So yeah, I think like a lot of people, you watching this video, you probably have all kinds of thoughts and emotions that I have no clue about because I can't. I'm on the other side of uh, screen, two-dimensional surface in space-time, and I can't see your emotional reactions. I can't see. I don't know how you feel. I don't know what your day was like. I don't know if a frog ate your toe or something. So, uh, so this little section talks about how to breaking through those preoccupations. Frog ate your little toe. Relieving the other person's tension. So how to, and then making the person feel appreciated and preventing them from tuning you out. Okay, so yeah, when the other person is wrestling with their own problems, they won't pay attention to you. So you won't pay attention to me if you're thinking about 10 billion other things. I'm sure. Uh, Unless what I have to say is important to your thoughts. Another way to penetrate preoccupied mind is to help the other person solve their problem. So yeah, I mean that's why a lot. That's why one of the things, one of the reasons why YouTube is so great is because of all these problem-solving videos. I mean, I love. This is the reason why I'm doing this YouTube channel. Is I want to give back a little bit because I've watched I've watched so many how-to videos and different things, and I'm like there's so much I learned, and so that's why I want to give back a little bit if I can. Um, but yeah, it's just yeah, we got so many different problems. Like your mouse stopped working. There's videos about how to fix your mouse, or how to use a fork. Well, I got a plastic fork here. How to use a calculator, how to use a flashlight, how to fix a flashlight. Uh, videos about Yoda from Star Wars. You can find incredible, profound amount of stuff that's very specific to like about a pin, uh, and how to fix a pin, how to use a pin, how to store a pin, how to buy a pin. I mean, there's so many. It's profoundly rich, and it's great for the world. I look at it as it helps people solve problems, and so a listener is able to find a very specific video on a very specific topic. Now, sometimes you can't. Like I had a problem with my hood latch; it wouldn't latch properly. And I have a little short video of that because all the other videos they had different solutions, and I tried those and didn't work. I realized I just got something blocking my hood intermittently. So I made a little short video on that, how to fix. So yeah, if people who have problems, there not may not be that many people that have a specific problem, but who knows? Maybe there's a few people that have to have an old car first of all, with a little piece of plastic that holds the support bar missing. But if you're solving a person's problem directly, that's very valuable. I guess maybe one of the reasons why Mr. Beast is so successful, maybe because a lot of people have, because it seems like a lot of his videos are there's two main themes. One is people like win something, win a prize, win some cash. The second thing is like a challenge of some kind, and so a lot of people have problems because they got financial problems, they got money problems. They want and I look at money as just attention. Uh, you get people's attention with money. It's like the phrase "money talks." So and people do kind of like challenges, um, sort of like sports. But so you're solving money, or at least people's perceived money problems. So I guess that's why I don't know what all the most popular types of videos are on YouTube. It'd be something you can just do a video on just in itself. But but yeah, so I don't know what your problems are when you're watching this. You may watch this because you want to learn about conversation. This video, and so I'm trying to solve your problem somehow or my own problem because I don't know how to converse very well. So I'm just conversing with myself most of the time watching these videos. I watch all my own videos. If I made like a 50 billion hour video, I'd watch it. I'd watch my own video, and I'd be the only one that watched it. But it's okay to me. So relieving other person's tensions. So yeah, I'm almost out of coffee here. Um, then I spill it. Entropy. But yeah, how do you leave? I mean, jokes. People are funny, and that's one of the reasons why I think the Joe Rogan podcast is so successful. It's humor, and humor relaxes people. Comedy, if you're laughing, it's really funny. It really helps people relax and just relieves the person's tensions, and so that's allows it. Reason why it's so successful. Yeah, so if someone's nerves are tied up in knots, the mind will not be will be tied up too, and the person's attention must relieve. I mean, yeah, you have to relieve the person's tensions in order to get the person to go follow the whole video. That's why I can see. I'm looking at the statistics on YouTube on their analytics on the videos, and I can see like most like one maybe 1% of the videos are watched, and I'm thinking, well, maybe everybody's tense. You watch a video with you're worried about so many things, and so you're not willing to. Time is extremely valuable. There's no replacement. No amount of money can replace your time. And that's if there's that one thing I can say in all these videos is your time is extremely valuable, and I appreciate you watching. I hope I'm helping you out somehow. If not, just fast forward or skip to the next video, cat video, or whatever it is you watch. Which would be an interesting comment. If you're watching this, feel free to write what is your most favorite video you've ever watched. If you, it'd be hard for me to figure that out. I don't even know. I like to watch the Gangnam Style video song. I'll put in the comment. this is me. I like watching music videos a lot. I don't know why, but maybe because I grew up in the music television generation back in the '80s. Music television was like just starting to take off, and they had. I'll put in the comments the intro of music television, MTV. It's the Apollo spacecraft taking off. The author points out set an example of keeping yourself relaxed. Quiet, soft voice, slow, deliberate movements, calm, attentive toward the person's personal feelings, needs, and feelings. Actions like these create a relaxed atmosphere which you can unwind. Keep the conversation centered on topics that are safe. Don't discuss a subject that may aggravate the person. Talk about relaxing subjects, like laying on the beach, the sun, with a little crab tickling your toe, and then a pelican comes up, looks at the crab, crab jumps away. Making another person feel appreciated. Your feelings towards the other person must be sincere, and you don't want the person to tune out. Restlessness. I imagine everybody who's watching, not everybody, but most people are watching these my videos are probably restless. I think a lot of us are driven by fear. I ever think about. Let me just a second. Let me get. I'm out of coffee. All right, so I gotta get more coffee. I'm totally out. And I still have a cup of coffee over there. I'm gonna grab. So I'm gonna step out of the picture. You take the time to comprehend a weird artificial intelligent art in the background. I still like to do a video on how that's generated because I still don't know exactly how they stitch together all these weird stuff just from the words. Maybe it's from all that "Are you not a robot?" picture that everybody on the internet's like the captcha. You're not a robot, and you click where's a car, where's a pedestrian, a bicycle, and a traffic light. I don't know. Maybe it was something like that. But anyways, yeah. Let me grab some coffee. You can welcome to grab some coffee too if you got coffee over there, or tea, or beer, or whatever you like. A cup of lemonade. Uh, and I'll be right back. So enjoy the picture as I step away, and you can meditate too for a little bit. So I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay, my little office that I'm in is all out of water, so I need to cycle my tanks. Okay, so back to the book here. So yeah, I was saying that I think a lot of us are driven by fear. I mean, they're instead of love, maybe. I think if understanding of what those two emotions really mean. I look at them as actually reflections of each other, because fear keeps you alive. So it's like it's not something to run away from. Something it's a kind of like your engine light on your car. When it goes off, that's like fear. The engine's having fear because there's like a problem, but it just means that you need to have pay attention. A lot of people just ignore the engine light, but I take out my onboard diagnostic cable and look into the mind of the little brain of the car to see what it has to say. So yeah, restlessness, and that's why I think most people, yeah, because you're most people don't. That's another problem with this world is people don't have as much time. They're working so many hours, and so yeah, your patience level is going to be very limited. So it's if we can make a better world, we can find a way that more people have more free time. And I like the idea from the economist Dr. Richard Wolff points out that if there's technological innovations, it'd be smarter to reduce people's working hours and then people have more leisure time. And I love that idea. And I think more people in this world need more leisure time. Even just a leisure hobby of how to grow food would be a great little leisure hobby. I mean, we don't want to lose our skills, our survival skills, if technology ends up doing everything. But uh, I guess it's one of the reasons why I like sailing because it's an old technology, but it's just incredibly robust in terms of you don't depend on a whole fossil fuel industry to get from one place to another around the world. Because you could sail around the world. A lot of people do it. Well, not a lot of people, but some people do it. In other words, it can be done. No matter how rich or poor you are. I mean, there's stories of people building their own boats and sailing. Um, so, anyways, oh, which reminds me, I'll put in a link this one guy I love to follow. I need to find him again, but he's an older guy. He's built his own little boat, sails around the world or different across the oceans. Just a really small boat. I mean, profoundly small. Uh, so I'll link you guys to that channel, YouTube channel. So yeah, if the person, yeah, so the restlessness, I can't see if you're restless. I mean, I don't have a camera looking at you, seeing. I can't see, if you're interested or not in this video. So I can't really tell, but and that's one of the big problems with social media, and right, people are going crazy because you can't tell what the other person's feelings, if they're interested, if they're restless. No idea. Shifting uneasily in a chair, fidget nervously within. I fidget. I move around in my chair a lot. Maybe I'm restless. If you ask, or if you re-ask, a person re-asks a question that you've already answered, I screw up a lot in that in a conversation like that. Sometimes I ask the same question. That's why it's really important to be a good listener. Um, I honestly think few people are good listeners. I'm always trying to learn how to be a good listener. If they say unrelated statements, if the other person's saying unrelated statements, then you can change the topic to help solve their unrelated statement. till their mind is at ease, and then you can go on to your topic that you need to action you need to get done. So you get through to another person by first clearing their mind of preoccupations and emotional tensions. See, I don't know what your preoccupations are when you're watching these videos, and I don't know what your emotional tensions are, but it would help me have a good conversation with all of you if I knew what your emotional tensions were, or what your preoccupations, what you're thinking about. I don't know, so you could always put in the comments. So if you help clear their preoccupations, emotional tensions, then the other person is going to feel more appreciated and taken care, and won't tune you out as much. Okay, so there's three conversational techniques to help motivate a person is when using a long established idea planter, guiding the person's thinking, using a teacher's technique, and then a salesman method for assuring that ideas stay planted. And so teachers use repetition, dropping subtle hints from time to time, and then when you're guiding the person's thinking, do it in a subtle way. And the book has a good example. You can check the book out to get the good example. Uh, really, he's talking about the problem of being a supervisor and somebody's having a messy work area. Proven sales technique is to lead the person to thinking that it was their idea in the first place. And that's a good management technique I read in another book. Uh, is to let the people you're supervising, or the people uh, that you work with, let them come up with the ideas and own the ideas, and let them choose the idea, and so they can own it, and instead of the other way around. It's kind of like I'll put a picture of the buildings of an interesting architecture with an upside down pyramid, or the leader is in the bottom of the pyramid, like Atlas Shrugged, uh, holding holding the organization. It's an unstable paradoxical architecture, but it's kind of illustrating the idea of the leader being at the bottom, or in the front line, so to speak. Um, that's one thing about these extreme boxing that goes on. I don't even know what I mean by extreme boxing, but that's one of the biggest problems in the world is leadership is not in the front lines, because they basically fooled the masses to go off and do the extreme boxing at scale. Yeah, there's probably whole libraries of books written on propaganda and manufacturing consent. Like Noam Chomsky's book, Manufacturing Consent. I haven't read that yet, but I'd like to read it. But those are some of the not moral or ethical ways of influencing people. Another great book is The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I wish I had read that in high school, but I didn't. But that tells you how a lot about how the world works, and how people influence people and manipulate people. How to survive in a Machiavellian world. Machiavellian. or toxic culture, as the Myth and Normal book Dr. Mate talks about. How can we? The question really to ask is how can we change the culture from a toxic culture to a much more happier, pleasant, enjoyable, and relaxing uh, culture that's also productive at the same time and advancing at the same time. Kind of a big question. So techniques that gain acceptance for your idea, avoiding false acceptance, drawing out the person's objections, keep asking questions that encourage the other person to voice their feelings about a new idea. Keep yourself under control and don't argue against their objections to try to prove them wrong. Deciding if their objections are emotional or logical. This is where the metaverbal is so important and what seems to be missing in our quote unquote modern world with all the social media that's just text based instead of video. Or I kind of look at a future healthier version of social media would be video, actual video instead of just text. And I think that's the reason why Facebook has gone to Meta. It's just it realizes the metaverbal's been lost. It's so messed up. Metaverbal is non-words. I mean, your visual, facial expressions, uh, your movements, your tone of voice. All those things are missing from text, and it's very hard to gauge emotion in text. Text is very unemotional without you explicitly saying uh, emotional expressions inside the text. And then you don't even get magnitudes. You just get raw, you know, discrete values instead of a continuous analog of how the other person is emotionally feeling. Like the pitch of voice, how quickly they jump from one objection to another. Okay, so how to handle logical objections, how to handle emotional objections. Patience and and a listening ear are your two major weapons when you face an emotional objector. So you conversationally motivate a person when you cause the person to accept that a new way of acting or behaving is better than their way. And since few people like to change, they'll resist your idea. Bring this resistance out into the open by getting the person to voice their objections and calmly discuss the merits and demerits of their objections. As you do this, you'll see, the other person will see your idea in the best light, and you will gradually lead them into accepting your idea. So, I gave like a slight interpretation of that. Um, just modifying my computer's connected to the internet. And it's like, I got to disconnect that. Every time I leave a computer on the internet, I feel like I'm opening the door to the whole world to my computer. It's like I don't want to do that. This video is open to the whole world, though. You could be in some island called Zuba Laba Iba, in a hut, watching this video and eating a coconut with a monkey. Hello. uh, okay, so how to keep the other person from going until the job is finished? This is, I guess, towards the end of the conversation is asking for the order. Is a vital conversational step because you want to motivate someone, ask them if they want to take action. I remember selling pizza at like a party, college party, or like a homecoming thing, and it was fun. I mean, we sold so many pizzas because we're all screaming, "Get your pizza" or something like that. And we sold like just lots. We just sold out. We sold out, sold all the pizzas, and that kind of reminds me of this. Get asking for the order. It's like, yeah, I was just going right to asking for the order. Get your pizza. Or if you ever go to like a big sporting event and you're in the stadium, and some of some of the best people that sell concession items are screaming out, yelling, probably lose their voice. I'll try to find you a video of that and put in the put in the comments. But yeah, selling hot dogs, Coke or whatever, unhealthy American food. But that kind of reminds me of this. Asking for the order. He's like, yeah, getting to the point for the sale. Let's see, reminding the person the need for change, make him happy about the change, congratulate them, keeping their interest active. So that's pretty much it for this chapter. Next chapter, chapter 14, which is the last chapter of this little book, making your voice work for your success. See, that's still a little bit left. So that's the end of this chapter. I hope you're doing great, as I always like to say, or at least if you're not, you can change your interpretation of how you're feeling about something. Like if you lost an arm, you can change your interpretation as you can be a pirate or a skipper of a ship, which I had one time in Lake Pleasant. Guy only had one arm, and he was like in his 80s, and we're sailing this like really this haboob storm, high wind in the desert, on a lake, and that was wild. So it's all attitude. Attitude is everything. So keep realize that you have control of your attitude. Uh, but if you don't realize that, you won't be able to change your attitude. But so if you recognize that you can't control how you perceive the universe or how you interpret your perception, might be more accurate. Because our brains are real interesting. I'll put a video in the comments on this TED talk. It's called Hallucination, our brain hallucination. Excellent, outstanding, cool, awesome TED talk about how our brains work, kind of. And yeah, our brains actually hallucinate, and so our brains have a lot of power. I mean, dreaming is a hallucination. It's a simulation. We actually have like a holodeck in our brain when we go to sleep, which is amazing just to think about. But that shows you like just the fact that you can dream at night if you do dream. And I think a lot of people dream at night. I've dreamed. I don't dream all the time. I used to dream a lot when I was really young, but just the fact that you can dream is observation that it's clear that you have the capability of even modifying your perception. But yeah, we hallucinate. Uh, like our brain, like if it sees a shadow on a checkerboard, you'll see in the video, our brain actually lies to what we see. Because we have like shortcuts, and I don't know where those shortcuts came from. If it came from original DNA code or just out of practicality from the mind growing, mind interpreting the universe. But yeah, the brain can actually cast a shadow when the shadow's not even there. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. but uh, but yeah, you have control of how you interpret the world. Like when I created this AI art here, or I typed in the words. I didn't create it. I just typed in the words for it, and OpenAI did the rest. And like one of the words on these two pictures is happy, so you can see their mouths are kind of like it's smiling or laughing or something like that, and you can see that interpretation in the art. Um, but if I didn't type in that word, that expression wouldn't be there. So um, we have control over interpretation, you know, or expression. But all right, so you take care of yourself, and that's the end of this video. Oh, I don't. I just created an hour of work for myself to watch my whole video here from beginning to end. And as always, I'll put the comment timestamps below, and so you can warp around. So, hope to see you in the next video. Hope you learned something useful. Go out there and practice talking to people. What's even more challenging is to go out and talk to people you don't even have a common language. And that you're 100% dependent on your metaverbal communication skills when you go to some place where you have no common language. And that's another thing that I say is social media is screwed up is people's metaverbal skills have been uh, are losing those metaverbal skills. So we need to bring those back into civilization, quote unquote civilization. We want to keep our civilization operating. We need to have those metaverbal skills coming back, and so that's why it's really useful to go somewhere where you don't even have a common language and reinvigorate and relearn your or improve your metaverbal skills, like charades, and Pictionary. But yeah, people are stressed though. When they're stressed though, they want to be super efficient, and so the super efficient is using the same language. So it's even more challenging. Is like, okay, how can you be super efficient? Super efficient communicator metaverbally, exclusively metaverbally. And that's why those games of Pictionary and charades, the skills, the best players of those have a very valuable skill because that skill allows them to be anywhere in the world without a common language and be able to operate effectively and efficiently and um, which is really valuable. So all right, so I got to get to work. The sun has risen where I'm at. I don't know if it's cloudy or not, but uh, where I'm at now in this space time. When you watch this video, I will be physically way out in space, far away from the Earth, where the Earth is at now when you're watching this video, or if you're watching this video from Mars or wherever. uh, that's a different story. But anyways, you take care of yourself. I gotta say, I have a hard time saying goodbye. So I just say, hopefully next video I'll see you. Maybe. All right. Take care.